Welcome back to TIW on Tap. I am Mason,
I'm Danny.
aka Big Sexy. This is our weekly podcast where we interview locals, historians, and musicians that come through the building. And this week, we have a fantastic episode. I'm not going to lie, man.
Yeah, it was fun with Jimmy.
Yeah, we have Jimmy Jones of Chuck Justice and the Junkyard Lawyers on the episode this week. It's really funny, so make sure you stay through the end and check it out. They're going to be playing this Saturday, which we'll get into here in a second. But first, I want to tell you what is going on Friday. We have local legend Brian Lose, all the way from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, playing from 7:30 to 10:30. But if you know Brian, you know he's probably going to play a little later than that. That's going to be 21 plus, and there is no cover charge.
Yeah.
So we'll see you Friday.
Don't we have a happy hour on Friday too?
We do have a happy hour. So if you guys want to start planning to come from 5 to 7 on Fridays, you can come for happy hour. Get $1 off drafts and $1 off well spirits. Hang out with us and then stay for some awesome music at night.
Yeah, and this Saturday we have a car cruise in, and it's 12 to 4. And also then Jimmy Jones is be on stage with Chuck Justice and the Junkyard Lawyers from 7:30 to 10:30.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. And that is 21 plus, and there's no cover. And I do just want to let you guys know, we've had a lot of questions. All wheels are welcome for those car cruise-ins. There's really no stipulations. If you want to bring your hot rod, your rat rod, whatever you have, hey, bring your Subaru down. Maybe Danny and I will park ours over in the lot.
Why did you have to say that? Come on.
Yeah, so guys, Saturday is going to be a ton of fun. And this Sunday is our Sunday fun day. We have Burger Daddy in the house, Burger Daddy food truck. They're going to be serving up some awesome food. And like always, Be the Star Karaoke is going to start doing their open mic a little bit later this weekend. We're going to start doing open mic from 1:30 to 7 now, instead of starting at noon to 6. So we're still going to be open at noon. You can come in, get food from noon to 1:30 still, but the karaoke is just going to go a little bit longer. So that's going to be a ton of fun. We hope to see you guys this weekend, but let's get straight into this episode with Jimmy Jones.
Yep.
That is so funny. Oh, my God. Well, everyone, we want to welcome Jimmy Jones of Chuck Justice and the Junkyard Lawyers to the show today. Jimmy, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself, man?
Jimmy Jones. I'm a drummer for Chuck Justice and the Junkyard Lawyers. Glad to be here. Love making music and love playing at the Titusville Ironworks.
Well, man, we are real excited to have you on, and we're really excited for your show this Saturday, which we're going to talk about.
I'm excited to be here.
Oh, man. So I kind of want to start off the show today by asking you, what got you into your musical journey? Where did it begin?
To be honest with you, I can remember my cousin. He gave me Rush, Caress of Steel, and I heard Neil Peart playing, and it was just one of those things that the light went on. I thought, I want to play drums. And
There you go.
I got into it when I started probably when I was 11 or 12 years old, and haven't really quit since.
Dude, I'll tell you what, Neil Peart was one of my musical awakenings as well,
great.
because I started drumming when I was 8 years old.
Really?
I did, yeah. I don't do it really anymore. It's really been years since I've drummed, but it's a lot of fun, and I always wanted to be like Neil Peart, so I totally get that.
He's
sure.
one of a kind. He was the professor, never to be duplicated. But
Absolutely.
he inspired a lot of people.
He did.
Yeah.
He did.
My uncle was a big Rush fan. And,
Really?
Oh yeah, he loved Rush. He just like had vinyls and everything. Just,
You know, my good buddy Cameron went to a Rush show with his dad, and he's like, you wouldn't believe it. There wasn't a woman in the entire concert. It was all 45-plus-year-old men and my 15-year-old friend.
wow.
I'm like, well, that makes sense. You know, not really music for the ladies. That's funny.
Yeah.
So Jimmy, with being a Rush fan, but what other musicians and bands inspired you?
Love Triumph, another 3-piece band that Rush and Triumph were two bands that it was amazing. Like when I went to see Rush live, I was not expecting the first time to hear the full sound that you hear on an out, but they duplicated it. It's just like, it was amazing to see the talent that 3 guys could put together that kind of music. So Triumph, I mean, they were sort of on the heels of Rush, so they were another. But of course, growing up in the '80s, the hair bands were definitely in my.
yeah.
And I got into a little bit of the heavier stuff, Ozzy and Black Sabbath and
Right.
Oh yeah.
Metallica.
I could go for some War Pigs right now.
Oh yeah.
What a great song. Love that song.
Every time I go to the Legion, I have the what's the app called that you play music on your phone? Touch Tunes.
Uh-huh.
So every single time I go in there, I play War Pigs.
Yeah,
People are like, "Who played this?"
I remember when Dave Grohl and the Foo Fighters and Zach Brown played it on Letterman. War Pig. It was awesome.
That sounds awesome.
Oh, damn.
Oh man, that is sick. So actually, it kind of is fitting that you're into 80s hair metal because Chuck Justice, the last time you guys played, I was like, oh my god, you guys kill the 80s covers. It's so good.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
It's great playing with, Chad is an extremely great guitarist. He, of course, his idol is Eddie Van Halen. He covers Van Halen great. Mark, he covers anything you want to do in the 80s. His voice can cover. And Debbie, she's the energy of the band.
Yeah.
Great bass guitarist, but you can just tell, man, she has a great time, and she's the one that provides the energy up on stage.
How long have you guys been playing for?
We have been playing out only for it'll be 2 years. New Year's will be.
Okay.
We started back. It was around the COVID time, so there wasn't anything going on. But we started rehearsing and getting things together. But it'd be about 2 years.
Gotcha. Yeah, because you played. Was it New Year's you played here one year?
No, we played
Thanksgiving Eve.
That's it. I knew it was a big night,
It was
man.
last year, Thanksgiving Eve.
Yeah.
Oh, that was killer, man.
It was great. Yeah.
People loved it. They're like,
that's great to hear because
yeah.
we like seeing people enjoying what we're doing because we enjoy what we're doing.
Absolutely. Well, you kind of got to, right?
Oh, Yep. It's got to be fun.
Yeah, and this is a good venue to do it in, too.
It is. It's extreme. This is a great venue. And it's like the history that he's preserved here. I mean, you guys have. It's nice seeing history being preserved because I think we're starting to push history off to the side. Nobody's interested, but this area is historically, man, it's a great area.
Yeah, we talk about that all the time. I mean, God, Danny and I have had the same conversation on this podcast a million times about how people around here, especially that have grown up in their 20s now, that don't even know anything about the oil history that this place has and everything. So it's kind of fun to talk to people and educate them a little bit.
Oh, it is.
And they're like mind blown every time. It's really cool.
And it's such a rich area. I mean, people don't understand the money that was in, between here and Oil City and Franklin. This was a prosperous place.
It was, man. It was. And driving around, checking out all the places around here is a ton of fun.
Yes.
So when you come into Titusville for your first time, it's definitely worth driving around the town, checking it out, especially the outskirts of town. It's a lot of fun to check out. So I'm curious, how many different bands have you played in?
I've been in about 4 bands over my span of years is all. I took about 20 years off when the kids were growing up. I did a little bit of filling in here and there with different bands, but 3 bands for the most that I really was into.
Yeah.
But this, like I say, I always wanted to play the 80s stuff, the hair band stuff, and never really got a chance to do it like we're doing now. So this is like a dream come true.
That's cool, man.
So how'd you get with Chuck Justice and the Junkyard Lawyers?
Well, funny you ask that, but my wife and I went with some friends to Oil Heritage, and Chuck Justice was playing. Never heard of him. Mm-hmm. We watched them, and I thought, man, these guys are really cool. They're a good band. They're playing stuff that I would love to play. And it was, I don't know, maybe 6 months, 8 months later, my wife was on Facebook, and she said, hey, that band we went to see at Oil Heritage, they're looking for a drummer and a bass guitarist. And I said, oh, that's pretty cool. She said, you ought to do it. And I said, I don't know if I want to get into a band again or not. And, well, you really ought to. And I said, I'll think about it. Next thing I know, she says, hey, you have an audition on Sunday.
That's too funny, man.
You got to love your wife, man.
I
That's
do.
great.
I tell you what, she encourages me a lot. I hit it lucky there.
Yeah, that's great, man. I mean, God, I'm happy you did it because
I am
you guys
too.
You guys are killer.
Well, last time you had a show here, didn't she get into my cocktails, the big sexies?
She did.
That is not what I thought you were gonna say.
No.
She loves the big sexies for sure.
Yeah,
And I imagine Saturday night she might be having one or two of those.
All right, I'll have to buy her a couple.
Oh man, I'll tell you, Bob just sent me the list of. I think we sold over 100 big sexies last weekend. So your numbers are looking pretty good there on your cocktail,
looky there.
Danny.
It's easy sales, baby.
So where did the name Chuck Justice and the Junkyard Lawyers come from?
I knew you was going to ask that. And
It's such a good name.
It is a great name.
It is very unique. I don't honestly know the whole story. All I know is the rhythm guitars. He played a little bit when I started, but he's no longer with us. He didn't die. He just quit. But anyways, he worked at a salvage yard, I guess, and him and some other guys were talking. They were trying to come up with a name.
Yeah.
And somehow, I don't know if it was supposed to be a superhero or what, but they come up with Chuck Justice and the Junkyard Lawyers. So I was curious, too, when I started. So I did a Google search of Chuck Justice, and he's actually a bass fisherman. So I don't think that had anything to do with it, but yeah.
Oh wait, there's not even a guy in the band named Chuck Justice.
No.
I thought the
That's
singer's
even
name
better.
was Chuck Justice.
No, we always say Mark Fornoff is our Chuck Justice. So,
Oh, okay, that
so,
makes
yeah,
more sense.
Yeah.
Oh, that's too funny, man. Yeah, the first time I heard it, I'm like, I wonder if they're all lawyers or something.
No,
Like-
not a one of us.
Oh, that's great.
It's a great name. Yeah. So speaking of like with music, Jimmy, do you have a favorite concert you ever been to?
Rush, of course.
Where at?
We saw Rush several times. We saw him in Pittsburgh. Actually, another one that I didn't even want to go to that was a great show. My wife talked me into it. Was Kid Rock.
All right.
I'm telling you, she's always been into Kid Rock's music. I never really was, and we've actually seen him twice, 2 or 3 times. Every time it is like a killer show. But musically, it's Rush.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, though. Kid Rock's entertaining, if anything.
He is indeed. There is no doubt.
I went to his bar in Nashville. That was an experience.
Oh,
there were so many people up on the bar dancing in their bare feet. I'm like, what is going on here? I can't believe this is allowed.
You know, you just started you saying that. My wife has been wanting to go back to Nashville, and that's where she wants to go. So thanks a lot.
There we go.
You know what's crazy? It's been on our bucket list, and a few of our friends want to go. And we were talking about doing a trip, and my girlfriend Danica, she's like, I want to go down there too. And then we were talking about it one night, and Mason's right there, and he's like, I'm going if you're going. And I'm like, all right, sounds good.
I'm telling you, the amazing, and it's amazing to see the talent
Oh, it's
everywhere.
incredible.
It's
Yeah.
like every bar has music nonstop all day, and the musicians you see, it's like, and we have really talented musicians around here too, but it's just like there are so many people that have that talent that will never really be heard.
Yeah.
It's just
Oh, it's, my favorite thing about going there, I've spent a lot of time there. I actually half lived there for a month, and I'd go somewhere else and go back. When I started going back in the later years, I realized it's way more fun to go out when you're not on the main strip of bars.
Yeah.
I started making friends that knew all the dive bars.
okay.
And some of the bands that play there are even better.
Oh, yeah.
It's so much fun. And you can afford a drink. So
Oh, there you
that's-
go.
That's a good thing, too.
Yeah, what are they getting you for a beer down there? About $10-11?
Oh, if you go out on that main strip anymore, I think it's 15
Oh my
easily.
gosh!
I went for my buddy's 21st birthday, and this was 5 years ago now. And I think we got a round of 12 tequila shots, and it was $200 some.
Oh my goodness gracious!
Yeah, so
That's insane.
If you go off the main strip though, it's like $2 to $5 a beer some places.
Yeah.
Not bad. It's affordable. You can actually get a buzz and not break yourself. So that's a good thing.
That is a good thing.
So Jimmy, you live in Cranberry area, right?
Yes,
Okay. So you got a lot of wildlife. We work together,
we do.
and I've always hear stories about your wildlife. So tell me about some of your pet turkeys and stuff.
There's a couple gobblers that I think it's the same ones. They usually come in the backyard, and I feed them corn, but they will actually they'll come up to the back porch, and I'll say, "You want some corn?" They'll follow me to the shed, and I'll get the corn. They'll follow me back down to the backyard. Now I have a doe coming in, and she'll actually come to the back door and stare in the back door when I'm working at home until I throw corn out. And she
That's so funny.
she's gotten to like too cookies, bread, cake, potato chips. She like eats anything. It's
You've got like a raccoon for a deer.
yeah, basically.
Yeah. I got a ton of deer in my yard right now, and it's pretty easily. I can walk pretty close to them. Then Danica will let the dog out, and there goes the deer.
That's it.
Yeah. Deer aren't a fan of dogs, man.
No.
That's funny. Like my cousins from New York City were just in, and they're staying out at the Hotel Clarence Airbnb that Bob has out on Windfall Road, and they were terrified to drive from the ironworks out there because they're like, we saw like 6 deer on the way out.
Oh my
there.
goodness.
That's nothing.
Totally a different experience for them though. They're not used to that, so it's uniquely Pennsylvania. I think that you feed a deer cake in your backyard.
It's great living in the country.
It is, man.
It is nice. Absolutely.
So I'm looking at my list of questions Danny sent me, and he wrote, "Jimmy, talk about having Danny eat beef tongue and other weird crap at work." Whatever that means.
Well, a couple buddies of mine, they started bringing in beef tongue, and somehow I got roped into it now. We do beef tongue and noodles at work in the crock, and he always makes fun, and we finally got him to try it. And did you like it?
It was pretty good. It's really tender.
It is.
It like falls apart, but then they tell me it's like, oh, it's beef tongue. I'm like, you guys, what the? Come on.
And the funny thing is, though, most of our floor would not even touch it when you said what it was, and then we got people to try it. Now when I take it in, I take a whole crock pot in, and it is like gone before lunch is over. Everybody's coming over to get it. We do beef heart also, beef heart and noodles.
I had
He always has something pickled or something festering in a crock pot. I'm like, what are we having? Like alligator butt cheek or something? I'm like, come on. I'm like, Jimmy, what are we doing? I was like, we're the top alpha dogs of species. We can eat good stuff. Come on.
It is the good stuff.
No.
Oh my god, that's too funny. I actually recently just had deer heart for the first time, and it was pretty good, but we ate it raw.
Oh, I don't know if I do.
I wouldn't do that.
But no, and I thought that was fine. And I told my dad afterward, and he's like, "What are you doing? You don't eat that raw." I'm like, "They told me I could. I don't know. It tasted all right."
So was alcohol involved, or?
No, it was someone brought it into work. So
Oh my
It's
goodness!
funny.
Now.
Like we'll go to like a random bar, and he'll always find like something pickled, like a pickled egg. I'm like, dude, I don't know how long that's been sitting there. He's like, I'm gonna eat it though.
If they're
I'm like,
pickled, they can sit there forever. It's
Yeah.
still good.
yeah,
You're okay.
yeah, but that's a little. That's a little fishy to me. I'm like, yeah, I'm all right.
I'm kind of testing the waters of making my own pickled eggs now.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to make Bob eat one, but he has no interest. But if I can finally get him to eat one, I'm like, I'll start bringing them into work. People can have them. He's like, I don't know about that.
You could sell pickled eggs. People love pickled eggs.
They do.
Especially when you're drinking.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Danny's not on board, but
I love hard-boiled eggs too, but I don't know that having them turn purple. I don't know.
Oh man. So Jimmy, we always ask every guest we have on, what was your first impression when you came to the Ironworks the first time, and what was your impression when you played here the first time?
The first time I came in, it was just like, it's unbelievable to see what work went into this place, and like I say, the history. Everywhere you look, there's something that has to do with history. It's just so cool to see like the old signs and the way the tables are just mismatched, and it's just very homey. And when we played here, I said this we were treated so good playing here. It was like, it certainly wasn't working for sure. It was.
That's what we try to do, man.
It was like a backyard party, almost. And the atmosphere is just so laid back here, and it's just a really nice venue to play. And
it is.
We love coming here.
You know, my favorite thing about it, and after talking to more of the musicians in depth about it, it feels, there's a lot of music lovers that come here.
Yes.
More so than I think a lot of other bars locally, you know, like there's people that come here just to listen to music.
Right.
And I think we've kind of built that on the fact that we have music every single time we're open.
Right.
Which is cool. And we've had so many different artists. I actually recently was trying to count how many we've had. I think we've had over 200 artists now.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's getting up there. And I wouldn't even have thought that number was going to be that high, but you start digging into it, and some days we have 3 or 4 different acts on one day. I'm like, oh my God, this number's getting crazy now. So it's really cool to see. And I think it's great for the area too, man.
Well, and the nice thing is, and I'm not knocking bars, but it's so different playing places like this as opposed to like when we were playing bars and you know, playing 10 to 2 in the morning at bars. Because people, like you say, I think people come out more for the music now, and you know, have a beer or two. But in the bars, it was more you went out and you were going to get a buzz, and you know,
and the band is the bonus.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But now it's people appreciate the music, I think, a lot more.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and down here it's crazy. Like last weekend we had Oil Fest last weekend, and it was crazy the amount of people that came in.
Oh my God.
Like that Friday night with our alumni night was just so busy. But it was a great vibe, and just a lot of people coming from out of town, and it's amazing like when you talk to people that come in here, and it's all the people travel to get here.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, where are you folks from? Johnstown. I'm like, you come from Johnstown? Altoona. I'm like, wow. Just and all over like different states too, and that's what's cool about it, and it brings a lot to town.
Well, the thing is, you guys have a unique venue, and I think once people, like you say, when people come here, the word spreads, and you tell family that don't live around here, and pretty soon people are saying, you know, where we ought to go.
Yeah,
check that out.
And we've definitely started to see that happening more this year, especially toward the end of this year. We've had a lot more people traveling in, or if they're in the area, they make a point to be like, oh, it's only 45 minutes because we're in Erie or something. Right. They'll drive down because they're visiting family or whatever. So it's really, really cool, you know, and it's been fun to see. And I think, I mean, I hope it just continues to grow that way.
I think you're gonna.
You know,
I think you're doing it right here, and I think you're gonna find that it's gonna keep growing.
And
I appreciate it, man.
We have like with the patio too. It's just we put that brand new bar out in the patio, and like our Sundays they're fun.
Yeah,
that's why we call it Sunday Fun Days down here. And like now we're coming in the fall, we're gonna be doing a lot with like football Sundays. So, and it's gonna be fun, man.
Yeah, we haven't announced that yet. Yeah. That's the first that's been talked about, but we're gonna start. I think we're gonna show football all through the fall on Sundays, so it'll be a ton of fun. We finally got enough TVs to start showing enough games and stuff. So,
nice.
Yeah, I think we have some good food lined up and everything for the whole thing, so I'm really excited about that. It'll be a great time.
Cool.
Yeah, well, Jimmy, I just want to thank you, man, for coming on and.
Well, hey, thanks for having me. Like I say, I just we love playing here, and you know, Chad and Mark and Debbie, they're as excited as I am to come back.
Awesome.
And like I say, it's just I have to say that group. Well, I've been very fortunate with bands, but these guys they're not only bandmates, they're friends. Like it's a whole different friendship, and to play with, like I say, those guys are all so talented. They make it so easy to play. It's a lot of fun.
Good, man. And that's what it needs to be.
Can't wait to see you to play, and thanks for coming on, bud.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it.
And I want to remind all of you that this Friday we have Brian Lose, the man, the myth, the legend, from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, in the house, playing from 7:30 till 10:30. But we know him. He's not going to play 7:30 to 10:30. He's going to play till whenever he feels like he wants to stop, and that's why we love him. This Saturday, we have a classic car cruise-in, and that starts at noon, and it will go till 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And then after, of course, we have Jimmy playing Saturday night. Chuck Justice and the Junkyard Lawyers are going to be here from 7:30 to 10:30 p.m. There is no cover charge. It is 21 plus. And this Sunday we have Burger Daddy food truck from noon till 6, and we have our weekly open mic happening. So come out for Sunday Fun Day. It's going to be a lot of fun. So thank you again, Jimmy.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Appreciate it, man.
Yep, thanks, bud.
No problem.